Welcome to Inference and Incense, where insight meets intuition when a rational bows to the ritual, and the data always have something to say. We, two data scientists, exploring one big questions each week, taking turns surprising each other with a mystery guest and a live reading. Each week, our questions is equal parts over-analysis and random curiosity. This one starts something like this. Today, we'll be talking about personal failure and our perceptions of the failure. Not the kind where your model performs at 80% and you have to explain why. It's really, really good to your product partners, but it's the kind that could set you free, right?
Yeah, like a spiritual awakening born from a deathbed experience when everything you thought was solid but just cracks.
Well, I don't know that deathbed experience would be comparable, but you know what? It may feel something that heavy. And to be honest, I used to think failure is only going to happen to people who didn't really plan. And if you didn't plan, you plan to fail. But over some recent experience, I think I was doing something really well and maybe just too well to the point that it was all crash and burn before I even recognized it. Not only that it affected me personally, but also professionally. It wasn't something that I think I failed to plan, that I was lazy or unprepared, but maybe I was being really good at something that I wasn't supposed to be.
I wouldn't even call that a failure. I think from your experience, it's more of a cosmic mismatch. You're overfitting your ambition into a framework that wasn't even designed for you, right? It's just not meant to be. And also, sometimes it can be a mismatch in tools. Imagine you're the fool trying to ace a corporate OKR, but you've got a stick, not a pitch deck.
Are you calling me a fool? I think I get your points. Yes, I definitely get the stick and not even the long ends. There was a lot of clarity that I've learned. And now that it's so obvious when everything is done, hindsight is 2020. And I think you're right. It's a good reminder of this kind of a mind shift. Even NASA has a documented preference for the kind of astronauts that went through some personal failure, but recover, and believing that these are the kind of astronauts that they would like to invest into. And it's a good reminder that I think even a place like that value resilience much more than perfections. So we got to get comfortable with failure.
Well said, because that definitely differentiates who lives with a failure and lives in miserable life versus those who always reflect. Because arguably, it's always after the fact that we recognize we made a mistake, and then that makes us grow.
I wish that I get that kind of a reminder early.
Yeah, I feel it's like a game. When you're in the thick of the play, the board blurs, and then we always believe that we're the designers, we're the creator of the game, but more often we're just players chasing our own plan. And meanwhile, the true creator, call it karma, your higher self, or fate, always knows exactly where you need to go and will bring you back if you stray too far.
Yeah. When did we all stop playing? Like once you become an adult, you kind of forget how to play.
Yeah, isn't that going back to the fool?
Truly. I think that's the biggest lessons growing up and being an adult and taking a big swing, getting a big miss. It's just no one's telling you that how painful it could be. It's almost a welcome to big life lesson 101. Expect a lot of pain from it.
And people always say, no pain, no gain. Just thinking about that line, when I go to labor, the nurse told me, no pain, no gain. I was like, what the hell is that?
I mean, birthing a child, that's serious pain. That is a beautiful analogy, right? Like you really going through so much to have this beautiful miracle of life at the end of it.
Yeah, people just never realize how much they change over time. There is a study from the University of Chicago, researchers found that people drastically underestimate how much they'll change over time. The end of history illusion. Today, we see ourselves as the finished product, the best of me, especially when I achieve something. But 10 years later, we're like, did I really do that? Did I really build such a poor performing model?
What exactly model are you talking about? Well, all joking aside, yes, every time that we look at ourselves and we look backwards, lots of growth. But we also strongly believe that this is who we are today and this is who we're going to be. And looking forward is the harder part. The mindset that the beautiful study is stating, we just have to remember that there's something bigger that the universe is planning for you. And you just have to let your ego down and really believing that there is something forward and you just have to keep going. How do we catch ourselves ahead of time when the next big meltdown is scheduled for us? How do we recognize these patterns?
Oh, sure. Let's call it mystic algorithm, or you just come to our show. Yeah. All right, I think it's time to shift gears back to the present. Let's pull a few cards and get a quick read on our guest.
Mystic mirror time.
The card I got from our guest, it's the Knight of Pentacles. It's interesting. Oh, it's a male, but this is also indicate a young soldier or a young knight. Maybe he's entering a new journey. And the Knight of Pentacles, he's holding one coin. It's also suggesting a starting point. So I'm guessing it's probably reasons he's coming to the show.
It's interesting that you pull coin. It's fully career related, isn't it, in tarot?
I think so.
So I'm using a tea leaf card, Lucy, and I got a pen, and it's a sign for a new job and a new career. I'm curious if the guest today is asking for career related questions, potentially a new project and a new beginning.
Yeah, because both cards suggest a new beginning.
I'm excited to welcome our guest to the episode. We have to bring somebody who lived a life full of exciting excursion, and he continued to demonstrate to the world what living big truly means. So joining our episode today is Christians, a writer, director, born in New York and raised by horror movies. In addition to all of that, he's also a closed-door disciple of Kung Fu. Welcome, Christian, to our episode. Hi, Christian.
Hello, hello. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay, I'm unmuted. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Christian, welcome to our episode today.
Thank you very much. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, good to have you on the show.
Happy to be here. I wish I could have heard the preamble of what you guys were chatting about before.
We were talking a little bit about personal failure and how that may bring personal clarity and transformations.
Ooh, interesting. That's a heavy topic.
Well, I mean, with a lot of different journey, I'm assuming that failure may be too far of a distant experience for you, isn't it?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I mean, I think it depends on how you define failure, right? I think, what did Thomas Edison say? He said, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And so he just kept going and kept charging and didn't let anything stop himself. And so I think if you don't do anything in your life, if you don't take any risks or challenges, then you'll never have a chance to fail. And what's the point of that?
So do you think that failure is something that we must go through before we achieve any sort of success?
That's a good question. I don't think it's something that you must go through before you can achieve success. However, I do think that it will prepare you for success if you've had the fortitude to go through failure and overcome. And I think failure is kind of a loaded word too. Like what does failure really mean? And so I think that there's a lot to be said for people who keep trying, who fall off their horse and get back on and keep riding and keep going. And that's an admirable trait. And certainly in my field, I can't tell you how many people that I've met along the way that were incredibly talented, but never achieved what they wanted to achieve because they gave up too quick. They moved back home, or they just said it was too tough, or they got discouraged because they wrote something and people didn't like it or respond the way that they thought. And the truth of the matter is they just didn't find the right people, and they just didn't stick around long enough. So is that failure? I'm not sure. But I certainly think that if you go through tough times, it certainly steels you and prepares you for success to come.
I like that you said the word prepare, because I don't think people prepare for failure. People prepare for success, right? So a little snippet of our conversations, we're talking about how failure could be a part of the cosmos planned for you. So when you said the word prepare, do you think that failure is something that people should expect to stumble upon? Or is something that the universe just planned for your calendar?
If you're trying to achieve something big, there you have to account for all scenarios if you want to be successful and if you want to achieve. So I do think you should prepare. I mean, I guess you asked me two things. The first was, should you prepare for failure? Then, yeah, I think you should be prepared for every possible instance. It's like if you're coaching a sports team, you want to prepare your team for every and any eventuality with that, what that other team might do. Or if you're driving the puck up the ice and somebody loses control of the puck, you have to prepare. What do we do? Who comes back and covers? Or in baseball, if there's an error, who covers home plate? If the catcher's out of position, you got to prepare for these scenarios if you want to be successful for sure. And the second part of your question, do I think it's basically you're asking, is failure preordained? I happen to think that there is such a thing as fate. And I do think that there are certain paths that are preordained or predestined. That has a theological connotation to it. But I think that our paths are more or less set out for us. And we're not just a bunch of billiard balls bouncing around in a million different directions, hitting each other. And I don't know why. I'm not particularly theological, but I do think that there is fate. I do think that we're guided by fate. And I think that in speaking about failures, sometimes when you're going off your path a little bit too far, it feels like you're consistently hitting a wall. You're just not getting anywhere. You just keep butting up against concrete because you've kind of gotten off your path, your ordained path. And I think that maybe sometimes failure or those obstacles are nature's way of just kind of bumper bowling you back into your lane where you were meant to be all along. So, and that can be just a few inches away from where you were aiming, and it could be a few miles away. It just kind of depends on where you are. So I do subscribe to that idea.
I mean, just watching Jaws 50th anniversary. Speaking of straying away from success and 100 days delay from shooting that movie, becoming the biggest movie of his career. So, I do subscribing to believing fate and trying hard until you succeed. But anyway, I'm sure that you have questions for us for today.
I do. I'm excited. I kind of broke it out into categories of professional, personal, and then just a fun one. So we'll see how much time we have.
All right, let's see. What are some of your questions for today?
Okay. I have kind of built my career around one specific genre. I write and make films and stuff, and I'm always focused on one genre. And so I'm curious. I would like to ask the cards and you all if it is to my benefit to continue to stay within this genre, or should I at some point expand and start opening up my repertoire to other genres? So I guess more specifically, should I continue on this path of genre only?
When we say into the future, can you be a bit more specific for us?
Oh, okay.
Because I can imagine that everything is a probability, and the chance of you straying into these new excursions is
Okay,
greater than zero.
sure. Let me be more specific. So I plan on making 3 horror films over the next 5 years. After that period, should I stay within horror? Is that a good path? Or should I start to venture outside of that genre?
I think we can probably simplify the question a little bit because the universe plans a lot of possibilities for you, right? Should we just say, let's do one card to say, hey, if Christian stays with this genre, how does his success look like in 5 years? And then what if he expands to other genre? What is the result? Then we can compare.
Perfect.
Pull 2 cards. The reality is your oyster, or something like that along the line.
The world is your oyster.
Yes, the word is your oyster. So the first card we'll be pulling is the imagined outcome if staying within the current track? And the second
Okay.
one, what would the imagined reality would be if you're exploring outside? Lucy, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm just trying to compose my words. So the cards I'm getting is seven swords. So traditionally, this signifies deception, betrayal, and dishonesty. So I'm just trying to interpret in your case, maybe I feel if you continue with a pass, it's you wouldn't feel fulfilling. It might be
Hmm.
like contradictory, or it's almost like self-deception. You're not trusting it, or maybe you just run out of ideas. Just remind you to be aware of potential like pitfalls or maybe even hidden danger.
I get archways, new opportunity and possibility for your imagined reality if you stay within your current genre track. So I think that you may find more interesting opportunity that you are not expecting within your own genre.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because that connects to the expansion, the alternative, if you're doing something new. Because the card I got is the Six of Wands. And then here we're seeing someone like riding on a horse in victory. So everyone's celebrating. So I'm guessing like that suggests the new opportunities of expansion, or maybe it's disciplinaries, right? Maybe it's horror combining with comedy, things like that. So I think that
Interesting.
from the reading, I feel it's exploration instead of staying with one unchanged theme. What did you get, Jen?
For the second card, if you explore outside of this horror genre, I got a butterfly card, and it means a change for the better. So I don't know if a change here is a change of genre, but I would imagine that it means that you potentially pivot. It could be within this industry, it could be related to the industry, but it's indicating that whatever decisions that you steer your directions after this 5 years is going towards a positive outcome.
Okay. I like the sound of that. Those are two positive cards.
All right. What is your second category of questions, Christian?
Okay. So you're going to have to guide me on this because, I don't really know what the protocol is on the questions. So I have two aging people in my life that I care about and think a lot about and stuff. And so I just want to know how their health is, or how much, obviously I don't want to ask specifically how much longer I have with them, but how is their health, I guess, long-term health? What's a better way for me to guide that or ask that question?
Can we start with the first person and imagining this person, visualizing this person's in your mind right now, just focusing on that person? And I think we
Okay.
can draw the card for the first person. Can we focus a little bit on what is a current state, health status of this person that you're
Okay.
visualizing?
Doing it now.
Yeah, for this person, I got the Page of Cups. So this is a person's almost like juvenile, so suggests energy, and then I think happy, and then loving and kind. So it seems, at least from the current situation, this person you're thinking of feels happy and useful.
I got
Okay.
tulips, which mean great passions. And I think it represents something a little bit more mental or spiritual rather than physical. So, at least in the current stage, this person is enjoying life very much.
Great. I think that's true. Okay. Okay, great. That's nice.
If you don't mind, start visualizing the second person,
Okay.
and we'll follow the same questions.
Got it. Okay. Visualizing.
So, I think for the second person, I'm getting something a bit more card of hand, and the card means the person is in need of help, assistance of sorts. I think My interpretations of the card is a little bit more physical. Obviously, this is a hand card with a physical limb. And I think it's clearly stated that this person needs some kind of help and assistance, but may not be in immediate threat.
Interesting. I got a hand as well, but holding a sword. So in tarot card, it's an ace of swords and also it's a reversed card. So first of all, swords indicates something mental or communication wise. And then a reverse card of the ace of swords suggests clouded judgment, a little bit confusion, or lack of clarity in thought or communication. So I'm guessing this person you are thinking of might have some conflict or like mentally disturbed.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. That tracks. That makes sense. Yes, that sounds right.
Do you have like probing questions on any of those two?
No, not really. I was just curious in general, what the overall reading would be for them. And I think that's all pretty accurate.
All right. Your last category. This is personal.
Okay. No, this is fun.
This is fun. Okay.
Yeah, this is fun. This is the fun category. Um, so I want to know if I have ever been or seen an alien, whether in my sleep or in my dreams, or have I ever been approached? I'm asking the universe and the cards to tell me,
So it's a yes or no question. Have you been visited?
have I ever been visited? Yeah, like even without my knowledge, has it ever happened?
Can you picture the alien? Like
Yes, picturing.
I'm consulting multiple decks, Jen.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're going deep on this one. I like it.
So such a fun question.
It's very interesting that the first time I was shuffling happiness card fell out, and when I reshuffle, I got the same card that you were asking about professionally earlier. So I got Archway again.
Hmm.
If you recall, this was the card that you were asking about your genre movie.
I recall.
I do think that you were visited, but it was a happy experience.
Wow. I got complete opposite readings and I pulled from three decks and it's all pointing to the same experience. The first card I pull is 10 of Wands. So this is showing a man carrying 10 heavy wands and then still trying to move forward. So very overwhelmed. And the other card I pull is coming to the edge and then with a girl on the cliff dancing, throwing her hearts away. And last card I pulled is funnel, which states for a period of frustration, lessons to be learned. So I don't think it's a yes/no question for me, but it states the experience is very heavy and you probably feel very overwhelmed. It also sounds there are still lessons you might need to learn, but it's probably from past life experience. There's something heavy in your heart.
Well, how do I learn about my past life experiences to relieve the heaviness?
What would you say the card revealing that is comfortable or uncomfortable for you?
About this experience?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to parse because I did see something when I was younger, but it was scary at the time, but I look back on it as a nice thing now. So I think in a way, maybe you're both right, but yeah, I don't know how to feel about the experience. That's why I asked the question. I don't know if I was dreaming or what. So,
That was very conflicting. I think both of the cards that fell out and the card that I pull are filled with illustrations of flowers. There was a bird visiting the flowers, and then an archway that leading to a garden full of flowers. It shows to me that it was welcome.
Yeah, somewhat related to your current career, right? Aren't you making movies about
about an alien experience. Yeah, I am.
because it's a world of duality, like good can be bad, bad can be good. It's all about how you see it, right? Just like how you see the failure, because you don't really see failure as failure. It's more of how you react to different situations.
Experience. Yeah, that's right.
Well, Christian, thank you for joining our episode today.
Ladies, thank you very much. That was very fun. Okay.
Bye, Christian.
That was very interesting. I think we're almost like 90% consistent in the readings, but in the last question, it's like very opposite.
I did notice that in our patterns, and I feel like the request of the questions almost is internally conflicted. I don't think he was leaning one way or another, and I think we do represent both sides of that spectrum.
Yeah, it's never black and white, right? Maybe that's what the universe asks us to join in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you ride a roller coaster, do you feel afraid or do you feel fully exhilarated? A little bit of both, right?
Yeah, maybe I just suggest our guest is kind of conflicted somehow.
It's a good experience. It's a scary one, but it's a good one that throw him into new opportunities.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, until next time, please join us for the next episode when we speak about when our gut is smart and when it is trauma. That's it for this episode of Inference and Incense, where intuition meets inference and meaning hides in the margin. If your question's still burning, good. That's how transformation begins. Follow, subscribe, light your candle, and we'll see you next time.